What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions in the building. I did a little video, I think 2 months ago, called Fight Announcements because we had a truckload of fight announcements. Now, there hasn't been a lot of fight news in terms of a big exodus of fight announcements, but we got a really, really big bombshell today, guys. And there were some other big fight announcements like maybe 2 weeks ago, so I'll put those in here. And but let's talk about it, man. Geoff ONeil versus Neal Magny. This is such a great fucking fight, man. I think Brett Okamoto first released this. This is where I first seen it. And these guys are gonna fight, I think, on August 29th on that. Well, it's not gonna be Yair versus Abid anymore, but yeah, that 29th card, man. This is such a great fight, man. Geoff ONeil. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but he proved a lot to me in that Mike Perry fight, man. Nothing against him. I think he's a good guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I like his fighting style. He comes in, has good fights, but I don't think he's the dark horse that everyone makes him out to be. I kind of felt like he almost lost to Nico Price, and I'm low-key a big fan of Nico Price, so seeing him beat my boy Nico Price that kind of hurt. But this is a good test for him, man. Some of the areas I think Geoff ONeil lacks in is the areas Neal Magny excels in. I don't think Geoff ONeil has the greatest gas tank in the world. And man, Neal Magny is the pure definition of workhorse. The Anthony Rocco Martin fight, you can whoever you thought won, it is what it is. You cannot deny what that boy Neal Magny did in that third round. No matter what, he always comes out in those third, fourth, and fifth rounds and comes out like the bigger man. The guy, he walks people down. But the Anthony Rocco Martin performance wasn't his greatest performance, but I implore you guys to rewatch that Li Ji-Lang fight. I picked Li Ji-Lang to knock him out because, I respect Zaleski Dos Santos, man. That guy is a fucking killer, and Li Ji-Lang took him out, broke him. Man, did he look amazing in that fight. So, I kind of had a bad feeling for Neal Magny that he was going to get KO'd. He was coming off the loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio, and I doubted him, man. I doubted and I ate my words. But, he looked so amazing in that fight. The way he transitioned from grappling to striking, he put such a pace on Li Ji-Lang. He just beat on him, man. Like it was just amazing from Neal Magny. Li Ji-Lang did all right, but it reminded me a lot of that Wonderboy Vicente Luque performance where he just showed the world that his pace, his output, and his volume is just on a different level from his opponent. So I think this is a good fight. I think whoever gets knocked out first will win, and whoever tires out will win. So if Geoff ONeil tires out, it's Neal Magny's fight. I think there's no way Geoff can get a knockout like he did against Nico Price. In my opinion, Nico didn't have enough. If Nico had the urgency to get up, he would have won. But it is what it is. And I don't think Neal has came back from almost getting knocked out. But if Neal gets rocked, I think this is Geoff ONeil's fight. So it's a great fight. I don't have a prediction for it yet, but it's an awesome fight. Next fight announcement: Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. Man, I was never a big fan of Robert Whittaker as champion. I loved his rise to the title, but man, that motherfucker, he does not care. He'll fight anybody, and he is fighting the Killer Gorilla, and Jared Cannonier is on an impressive 3-fight win streak. When I know people like to call Geoff ONeil a dark horse, but this guy right here, this is a real dark horse. Now, yes, he's in the top 4, and you really can't call him a dark horse because he's in the top 5, but he does not get any talk at all, man. No one talks about him, but this guy has been silently just winning. And his performance against Jack Hermanson, he looked a lot different from the competition, And Robert Whittaker is the former champion. He's coming off that really tough, impressive win against Darren Till. He showed his grit, he showed his championship ability, and he won. But it was a very close fight. I will say that. I did pick Darren Till, but the reason I picked Darren Till was because Robert Whittaker's, his fight IQ, it's not bad, but his foundation being wrestling, right? I didn't think from his past performances he was gonna go back to his wrestling foundation. He kind of fell in love with his hands, but he showed that his striking is still up there, and he proved a lot. Obviously, going for wrestling feints and going for takedowns helped him a lot. I thought that was one of the biggest things he could have used in the Israel Adesanya fight, but he didn't use it. He didn't even attempt or even make a feint for a takedown in that fight. So he didn't do that. But against Darren Till, he used all of his abilities and skills in that fight, and he proved me wrong. I'll give him that. I thought he clearly won that fight. I didn't think at best it was 3-2, but you could even make a debate for 4-1 Whittaker. So it is what it is. So he's showing that he's still tough and he still got it, but I am not a believer in that chin, and Jared Cannonier is not an easy guy to take down. He is a man, if I ever seen a guy. Now, one thing we can say about Jared Cannonier, this is a 3-round fight too, man. If this was a 5-round fight, I think Whittaker would have a great chance. But this is a 3-round fight. I think this favors Jared Cannonier. I really do. I think this favors him. I'm not gonna pick him yet, but I am leaning towards Jared. I'm gonna be looking at a lot of tape from both of these guys and see who I really want to go with. But Jared is a problem, man. And that guy he doesn't care, man. He doesn't care about none of that hype, man. He just goes in there and kills fools, man. He's in there to put in the work. So this is an awesome, awesome fight, and I love it. It's going to be on the 254 card with Khabib and Justin. But some other news about MMA. This isn't necessarily a big fight announcement. This is more of a departure. We actually had 2 departures. Corey Anderson has decided to sign a multi-deal with Bellator and has asked for his release from the UFC. This is interesting. Man, I don't know what to say, man. With Corey. And actually, back to the other guy that got released. Ray Borg also got released too, which was pretty sad. He was supposed to fight last week, I think, and then they cut his. I think he, I don't know what happened, if it was a weight cut issue or if it was a family issue, but he didn't end up fighting, and I think and he's been doing that too many times, and it is what it is. But back to Corey Anderson, man. Corey Anderson's one of these guys, man, that he's a grinder. I know a lot of people don't like him because of the way he treated Johnny Walker, and I know a lot of people had high hopes for Johnny Walker to be the guy to beat John Jones one day. So seeing Johnny Walker get destroyed like that and have a guy that looks like Corey Anderson yell at him kind of, I think, hurt the fans. But I got no problem with Corey. I actually picked Corey to win that fight. I didn't think Corey was going to knock him out. I thought he was going to use his wrestling to grind on him. But when they had matched him up with Juan Bolchevich, I knew the UFC was trying to get rid of him. That was a terrible matchup for Corey. And I'm not just saying because of the knockout. I know a lot of people pick Corey Anderson because he had a win over him the first time. But you got to look at tape, right? Sometimes in a rematch, for me, you always got to go with the guy that won the first time. I feel like that's the number one rule. But you look at that rematch in particularly, and you look at what Juan Bolchevich did against Luke Rockhold and Jacare Souza, right? Those guys are high-level grapplers. You could say they don't have, I guess, the wrestling background of a Corey Anderson, but Corey Anderson wasn't the greatest wrestler in high school, and he was I think, a Division II guy, so he's not that good of a wrestler to say he's way better than Luke Rockhold and Jacare. And I get it, Luke and Jacare are 2 middleweights, but they were trying to take Juan Bolchevich down like crazy, and they could not do it once. Alright? And that's Corey Anderson's bread and butter. I know because he knocked out Johnny Walker, I guess people forgot how he fought, but go look at his Ilir Latifi fight, go look at his Glover Teixeira fight, go look at his Patrick Cummins fight. He is a wrestler throughout and out. So, he was looking to wrestle in that fight, and I think Juan Bolchevich proved in the grappling sense that he's not no easy guy to get taken down. So I thought, man, it's gonna be hard for Corey to win that fight, and I kind of felt like the UFC knew what they were doing, and they got him knocked out, and I felt really bad for Corey. I thought people would have got behind Corey Anderson versus John Jones, because Corey's going back and forth with John. It could have been like a low key, different version of DC versus John, but I guess people are like, nah, fuck Corey Anderson. I know a lot of people are happy about him leaving, but in terms of Bellator news, today we got Michael Chandler and Benson Henderson going at it for Bellator. I might, if after Derek Lewis and Alexei Oleinik, I might review that show. I might put it in the recap, because could get those videos a little longer. But yeah, man, him versus Ryan Bader is a good fight. I like Corey at Bellator. It was gonna be a hard climb back to that top spot, and I think Corey made the right decision. So yeah, it is what it is. But the next fight announcement, we got Jennifer Maia versus Valentina Shevchenko. And I wasn't going to really talk a lot about this. This is just another fight for Valentina Shevchenko. Jennifer Maia looked incredible against Calderwood. But the reason why I bring this up is, again, to make my point, is that dummy Mr. Ariel Helwani thought it would be a great idea for Gilbert Burns to give up his title shot to Leon Edwards. This is what would have happened. Leon Edwards would have probably beat him, and I'm sorry, I'm going with Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards is, as much as I love Gilbert Burns and what he's been able to do at the welterweight division, I'm very proud of him. After losing like that to Dan Hooker in embarrassing fashion, looked like a bum, let's be honest, and he came back and did that. This is a career renaissance. So I'm happy that he was able to do that. But Leon Edwards is a real welterweight. I'm sorry, but Gilbert can make 155 right now. It's not impossible for him to make it, right? I don't ever see a guy like Leon Edwards making lightweight, right? Ever. I think he'd die if he tried to make that weight. But if I think Leon beats Gilbert, and Leon would have got his title shot. All right? So Ariel needs to fucking apologize. All right? I don't know what he said, or if he's gonna just admit that he was wrong. I don't think his point was that. I don't know what his point was, but it was a dumb point, and it, like, what are you saying, dude? Like, come on, use your brain. I like Leon Edwards too, but he needs somebody else, man. He needs to fight like a guy like a Wonder Boy, or a Jorge Masvidal. Like, Gilbert Burns versus Usman is the fight to make. I love that fucking fight. I think Gilbert Burns has the best chance of beating Usman right now. I love Colby Covington, but Colby, he doesn't have that thing Gilbert has, and that's experience with Usman as a teammate. That's something not a lot of fighters can get, and that's something that Gilbert has, and I think he has an incredible chance to beat Usman. But it is what it is. Ariel Helwani, you're an idiot. You need to apologize on goddamn Twitter. I want to see that now. You got Joanne Calderwood murdered, man. I won't forgive you for that one, but it is what it is. I'm just playing. Next fight announcement: Cody Garbrandt versus Deiveson Figueiredo for the UFC 255 main event for the flyweight title of the world. Brandon Moreno, you thought you were the number one contender? Oscar Oskarov, you thought you were the number one contender? You thought we cared about the flyweight division? Man, this is a great fight. I'm not gonna act like this isn't a great fight. I'm not gonna act like I don't like this fight. I'm not gonna act like Cody Garbrandt can't win this fight. He can. But I want to see the UFC flyweight division succeed. And I just feel like, personally, the UFC isn't doing their best interest to make this division succeed. Brandon Moreno and Oscar Askarov have already fought each other, and they've been on separate win streaks. Now, the first time they fought, it was a draw. So you can say there's no clear number one contender. But what in the hell does Cody Garbrandt have to do with flyweight? All right, this is ridiculous from the UFC. Like, oh my, someone's dying. Sorry guys, but this is ridiculous from the UFC for them to do some stuff like this. Like, man, do you not want to see this division succeed? Like, you're taking a gamble here, right? When Cejudo fought TJ Dillashaw, and let's say TJ would have won and he would have popped for EPO, the division's over. Say goodbye to flyweight. But thank God, Henry had, he won, and he was able to, get that done. But the problem was Henry never went back to 125. He left, right? So he got the rub off after beating TJ Dillashaw, right? But then just ordained himself as a bantamweight. So still, this doesn't help the division. Like, I know he likes to claim he saved the division. He didn't really save the division. He gave the division an extra year of life. So then they booked Joseph Benavidez versus Figueiredo. I love the first fight, and I love the second fight. I thought I picked Figueiredo in the first fight, and then I picked Joseph in the second, and I thought maybe because they were talking back and forth, and they had some beef, so I wanted Joseph to win so they could get some, a rivalry going on for the flyweight division. Actually, it didn't end up being like that, but something better happened. A king was ordained in that title fight. Figueiredo didn't just beat Joseph Benavidez, he murdered him. And I like Joseph Benavidez, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that was a 10-7 round, and you just made Figueiredo look like the most savage mofo on the planet. Like, both of those guys saved that division on that night at UFC Fight Island 2. Right? That was the greatest thing that could have ever happened in that division because you got a savage in Figueiredo. Demetrius Johnson was just so dominant, and he didn't have a lot of competition. And he didn't have, I know he had the, suplex armbar finish, but, in terms of finishes, they were dominant. It made him look good, but it made the division look like nobody's, But right now, you got a guy like Deiveson Figueiredo. He knocks people out, destroying everyone. He got some good competition in Oscar Askarov and Brandon Moreno. It's not like the division sucks. And Formiga has a win over him. Alex Perez looked amazing. So you got good guys. You got to start promoting these guys, man. You know what I'm saying? They're just not doing that. But, at the end of the day, I thought they were going to stick to their guns and defend this, really promote this division. But instead, they went for a stupid super fight with Cody Garbrandt. Cody looked amazing in his Rafael Sansa fight. I think they ended up announcing, actually, another fight announcement I guess I'll add, is Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. And I thought Cody was going to fight Marlon, but I guess they were like, nah. Cody wants to fight for a title. And, but yeah, Cody looked amazing in his Sansa fight. And if he would have got one more win, right, and would have waited for the winner of Aljamain versus Peter Yan, and let's say Peter Yan would have beat Aljamain, you have a great fight between Cody Garbrandt and Peter Yan. Peter Yan beating up his dad, Uriah Faber. You could have built up a good story right there. But no, instead, I don't know what kind of gamble they're taking. I don't know who they're rooting for in that matchup, but I'm telling you one thing. I want to see Deiveson Figueiredo knock out Cody Garbrandt. And I'm being honest right now, and I guess I'm going to give my prediction away. Because this shit's unfair. Enough is enough with this bullshit. This division needs to thrive, alright? There's no excuse. Okay, you have good contenders. They're probably going to do Oscar Askarov versus Brandon Moreno too. Give them 5 rounds. But you're not going to do that because you won't give flyweights a main event. Right? Because you don't want to see them succeed. Alright, you got to put them out there. You got to give them an opportunity. Okay, if they fail, they fail. Like John Dodson versus Demetrius Johnson too. Alright? They got the opportunity, but they didn't do too well in the pay-per-views. They got 90,000. Okay, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world. But you can't, just because one guy F's up, like John Dodson and Demetrius Johnson, it's not, give Brandon Moreno and Oscar Askarov a 5-round fight. And give them a solid co-main event. Alright? Don't put them out there by themselves. You got to give these guys opportunities, man. It's not right. So, at the end of the day, I hope Deiveson Figueiredo knocks this fool out, stays at flyweight, and defends his fucking belt. Alright? Cody Garbrandt, you should have stayed at bantamweight. I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know who was in your camp giving you this awful information. I don't know if Mark Henry didn't feel comfortable cornering you to fight Marlon Moraes because he trained him or whatever. I don't know what the situation is there. I don't know if it's because you guys have the same manager, but you should be fighting Marlon instead of Corey. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's it for the fight announcements, guys. Those are my opinions. I guess I could tell you what else. Oh yeah, and fucking my 252 predictions are coming out all on Sunday, so go wait for that. A recap of a Bellator and the UFC fight night. Derek Lewis and Chris Weidman recap is coming out like after Saturday. Or not after Saturday, like after the UFC show. I'm gonna give a recap of both shows. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm just pulling out the content out the yang, bored as hell. But you already know what it is. eBay Predictions is out. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Go check out my Twitter and go follow that Instagram account that I made specifically for this YouTube channel. And I'm out, guys.